My name's Corey Adam. I was born in the mining city of Hibbing, Minnesota. Traditionally, all those miners were immigrants, and historically, all those immigrants were broke, which led to a lot of tasty, cheap local cuisine. As a stand-up comic, I've kind of always been on the poverty line, so my cooking style directly resembles that of my immigrant grandparents. I want to show you some of my favorite cheap and hearty Minnesotan recipes to keep your stomachs as full as your wallets. When I was a kid, we used to go to Valentini's all the time, and I would look forward to it more than anything. And there was one point, more than one, there were a few occasions where I actually ate so fast that I splattered the Sugo on the people behind me. One point, my grandpa actually had to pay the dry cleaning bill of somebody, and he told me it was coming out of my allowance, but he never charged me. How long has this restaurant been here?
Valentini started in 1934.
Tell us a little bit about the sauce.
The Sugo.
Yeah. What did you tell me about the Sugo? Like, if you don't call it that, you know you're not from here?
If you call it spaghetti sauce, you're not from the region. So we call it Sugo. It's our red marinara sauce that Rob makes every week, and we just make it from scratch. But up here, we call it Sugo.
So what are the components that go into a Sugo? I mean, obviously you can't tell me the secrets and all that stuff, which is fine, but I mean, what are the components?
Yeah, everyone's going to have their own recipe, of course, the way they grew up making it with their grandma, their parents, and whatever. Basic components: onion, some sort of pork or beef or both, whether it's bones or meat. We use chicken in ours, so there's one of your secrets. But
we're cracking it.
We use some chicken in ours. Of course, tomatoes.
Yep.
Whether it be paste or sauce or even fresh tomatoes, depending on, again, what kind of sauce you are making. But seasoning, spices, always fresh garlic, of course. Pepper, salt, all that basic stuff that most people would use. And then, like I say, everyone puts their own little twist on how they had it traditionally growing up.
Those are the shush secrets.
Yeah, those are the ones that, And again,
which I'm going to be exposing my family's secrets in this, so hopefully they don't kill me.
Yeah, and again, using up, I think back in the day too, a lot of families didn't have a lot of money, so you use what you have laying around.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
That's kind of the key to a good Sugo, a good sauce, is use what you have.
Let's make some Sugo. The important part to remember about all Italian sauces is they can be as easy or as difficult as you want. I have tomato sauce, can of tomato paste. You can make a puree yourself and make the tomato sauce from scratch, but you're going to add an extra 6 hours onto your cooking prep, and that's not okay. First step is to throw the sauce in. We're also going to need some tomato paste. We're putting in water to help dilute the tomato paste. It's also important that if you like a thicker sauce to not use as much water. Now that you got your sauce in here and you've diluted it a little bit with water, you want to add a little bit of olive oil. For this one, we've used 3 tablespoons. And the thing is with the olive oil is that's going to give it a nice smoky taste. For your dried spices, we got your salt, we got pepper, we got oregano, we got basil. Now with your oregano and basil, you can also get it fresh if you want, but that's going to end up costing you more money. All right, now we're going to combine the dry ingredients. We're going to start out with bay leaves. Again, you can pick those up anywhere. I use 3. An important thing to remember is when you're done with the Sugo, take the bay leaves out. I have eaten bay leaves, and that's not anything you want to do. Trust me, they're gross. We're going to combine the salt. We're going to combine the pepper. We're also going to combine the oregano and the basil and the paprika. We're going to just do about half of the paprika to start out with. If you put it all in, it's not the end of the world. I just like to boil it down a little bit more because then you're able to actually gauge the taste. A lot of Italian food is going to be going off your own preferences, so you're going to be wanting to taste it throughout the process and see what you want to modify to make it better. Now that we have all the ingredients in one place, we're going to go run and throw it on the stove. Now that we have that all mixed up and ready, we'll set it on medium-high and just leave it there to boil for a second. And we move on to garlic and onions. 2 of the pretty big staples in Italian cuisine. I mean, you're hard-pressed to find anything, Sugo or otherwise, that doesn't involve onions and garlic. You just want to make sure that you're mincing it down. Again, it doesn't matter how big or little, it's all preference. And now we're chopping onions. There's a lot of old tricks about how not to cry when you do this. I don't know any of them. So if I break out crying, I'm sorry. Oh, it burns. All right, we're gonna be doing the rest of this recipe blindfolded. And now I'm just mincing them together. Nice thing about that is that they're all gonna end up in the same sugo, so who cares if they get mixed right now. We're going to add the final dry ingredients, which is the paprika and the brown sugar. The rest of the paprika, I like to add it afterwards because that way it doesn't dissolve totally and it adds a little bit more smoky flavor. The brown sugar I like to add right around the end because the way that brown sugar is, it doesn't break down all the way and you don't really want it to crystallize. You want to make sure that you're stirring it right away. So I'm going to go ahead and add those. Now we're going to go for the cheese. I use grated Parmesan cheese, and again, this is one thing that you're going to want to do to taste. I like to do a couple really healthy pinches, and the important part with the Parmesan cheese is to make sure that you're stirring it in immediately because you want it to dissolve and help thicken the sauce a little bit. Alright, so now you just cover that up, and if you're going to eat soon, you want to boil water, put some noodles in. You also, at this point, you want to taste it, and you want to be adding olive oil, paprika, all the spices that you enjoy to the flavor that you enjoy. So if you like it spicier, now's the time to add some extra spice. If you like it sweeter, now's the time to add some extra sweetness. If you're very bland, we probably should have just stopped at the tomato paste. Alright, so we let that simmer for about 30 minutes. I'm taking the bay leaves out right now. Other than that, it's pretty much perfect. Alright, this is my family sugo on my favorite noodle rigatoni. All said, this cost about $10 provided that you have the spices in your pantry. This will make me about 4 meals. I'm gonna go eat lunch.